Hello, everyone. I'm Gaurav from Wi-Fi Alliance. Thanks, Keith, for giving us the opportunity to present some of the interoperability insights. Based on last 2 years, we conducted more than 10 of these testing events that we call interoperability events in our labs in Santa Clara and in Taipei. We got around 100 companies that attended and participated in these events. We had more than 350 device implementations that we were able to validate, and both APs and clients. What these told us, the testing that we did starting from Wi-Fi 6, we did Wi-Fi 6E, Wi-Fi 7, we did roaming, we did WPA3, WPA3 transition mode. All that testing that we did is providing us the insights that I'm going to share with this group of audience here. What this tells us is that Wi-Fi certified is something that is so valuable, and it shows the difference out there in the marketplace, as with all the different deployments that we see. And this is just one snapshot from one of those interop events that were focusing on Wi-Fi 7. So here we did test MLO, 2-link, 3-link. We tested EMLSR. We tested MLO enabled with MBSSID, 320 megahertz, MCS13. We tested the compatibility with previous generations. And the results were only pointing to one fact, that if you look at the unsuccessful attempts that you see here, yes, they are limited, but there were several, and all these unsuccessful attempts for those features, they came from devices that were not Wi-Fi certified. So Wi-Fi certified is something that I think one of the earlier presenter was mentioning about the ADTS causing some issues because the ADTS did not go through. So the ADTS did not go through because if you look at Wi-Fi certified WM admission control, that exactly does that kind of testing, and that issue on that particular device could have been identified if it went through Wi-Fi certified WM admission control certification testing. So what it tells us is that, yes, Wi-Fi certified is valuable, but then it is not, it's giving you a foundation. It's not the end of, it's not the final word, because to maintain interoperability, we need to continue to make sure that we are evolving our certification testing. How that is possible is by getting all the field data, getting the deployment data, getting the device implementations from this community, from the Wi-Fi industry, so that we can collect that data, and then we can see how we can evolve our Wi-Fi certification offering. So like I mentioned here, that baseline interoperability is what, with Wi-Fi certified launch, we are ensuring and assuring that there will be baseline interoperability. But then the environment is constantly evolving. So we need to keep pace with that. And what Wi-Fi Alliance is doing is that we are reaching out to this broader industry and to make sure that we are collecting all this information from you, and we are trying to improve Wi-Fi certified testing going forward. Today, I am going to share just a couple of specific insights that we were able to identify in MLO testing. One is with respect to MLO link KDE. So what we found is that there were station device implementations that were unable to understand any link KDEs that are getting added in the ePOL message 3. ePOL message 3, if you look at the association exchange, that is authentication, association, and then comes the four-way handshake. In the four-way handshake, message 3 has KDE information provided by the authenticator. MLO link KDEs are to be included by the AP for all the affiliated links that it is supporting. So if the APMLD has 3 links set up, 2.4, 5, and 6, then link AD, there will be 3 that will be present in MLO ePOL message 3. Now, what those affected stations were doing is that they were expecting that only the requested links are to be included in ePOL 3. So let's say if the station has requested ML in 2.4 and 6, or 5 and 6, then they expected that only 2 link ADs will be included in ePOL. Versus the AP that was supporting 3 was including all the affiliated links, all 3. And that was causing the station to barf. The station was not sending ePOL 4, message 4. Resulted in association failure. We collected that data. What we did is that we have now updated our certification. And this came after the initial Wi-Fi 7 launch. So this is why what I was saying is it's important that because of the constantly evolving the environment and the deployments, we need to get such kind of data from you so that it is possible for us to analyze, assess, and see how we can improve our testing, which eventually gives assurances out in the field that the devices will connect. They'll give the user experience that everybody deserves and is expecting for. Another one to share is with respect to the extended MLD capabilities and operations subfield. So this got added very late, just before the ratification D7.0. So in this one, what happens is that the APs and stations, they are signaling specific capabilities as part of the MLO features. So here you will see that what was happening is that there were device implementations that were unable to process the frames which included extended MLD capabilities and operations subfield. So in terms of APs that were having difficulty processing, what was happening is that if a station included this capability subfield, the AP was not able to parse and process the association request itself. And because of that, the association didn't go through. If a station was not able to handle this particular subfield, then it will not even attempt association because the beacon or probe response is going to include this field in the EHT. Again, resulting in either no connection or no attempt to connection. Again, the resolution was that we did identify this issue, and then we were able to update Wi-Fi 7 certification testing for ensuring that both APs and stations that are going through certification, they are getting tested to ensure that this bug or implementation defect gets caught. Another recent one to share here is with respect to MCS 15 disabled field. In this one, again, this was introduced later in the 11BE 6.0. So this field was a way for AP and station to indicate that the EHT PPDU reception with MCS 15 is disabled. The problem was that there were some devices that were not honoring, even because they did not recognize the new MCS 15 disabled subfield. And because of that, if an AP is doing something like this, and when the rate adaptation kicks in because of, let's say, deteriorating network conditions or channel conditions, then it was possible that the MCS starts adjusting and goes to MCS 15, which is the lowest possible rate for Wi-Fi 7. And even if the network conditions improve, because the station never gets these EHT PPDUs that are transmitted at MCS 15, it is never going to act. And that particular connection gets stuck. And there is no way to recover from there unless the device has to bail out, dissociate, try again. We have now updated our certification testing to make sure that this issue gets caught in device implementations. And this is not just limited to the 3 examples that I shared. in one of the recent interoperability event that we conducted 3 weeks back, we are also, some of these are the areas of interest. We are looking at MLO block ACK agreement. That feature is something that we are collecting more data on, and you'll hear more from us maybe the next time we meet. We are also looking at beacon protection. So beacon protection is, like other presenters were mentioning, it is a mandatory feature for a Wi-Fi 7 association. What we were noticing is that some of the legacy devices looking at beacon protection enabled, there is a management MIC element that gets added in every beacon that is transmitted by the AP. Some of these legacy devices are having difficulty either connecting or difficulty maintaining that connection when beacon protection is enabled on the AP, specifically Wi-Fi 7 AP in this case. So these are some of the additional feature areas that we are looking into more deeply. Next, I'll switch from Wi-Fi 7 to WPA3 personal transition mode. Over the years, we have seen there have been several issues that have been reported with devices having difficulty connecting, initial connection, roaming with Wi-Fi WPA3 transition mode capable APs, or in APs that advertise PSK and SAE as AKMs. And most of these issues, they stem from the point that the protocol is identified, is defined as extensible. So anytime there is an extension, a new AKM, a new pairwise, a new KDE gets added, some of the legacy devices find difficult to cope up and be able to ignore, because they don't support. They should ignore, they should skip, and they should still be able to give user the much deserved connection. This problem that we found that was more prevalent in residential networks, operator-managed devices. And those are some of the examples that I have provided here, identifying where, what type of stations had those issues. So Wi-Fi Alliance looked at that, and then we were able to define a practical mitigation path for specifically those specific networks where this issue is being seen. And that was WPA3 personal compatibility mode. And in this compatibility mode, what it can do is that it can allow the legacy stations to still see the network as RSNE PSK only. Versus newer stations, if they implement the compatibility mode, what they'll see is that the opportunity that they can connect using WPA3. So it is best of both worlds, where the legacy devices can continue to have that connection with WPA2 personal, whereas newer devices who understands the new compatibility mode, they can utilize the latest and greatest WPA3 personal security. Next, moving on to roaming. Again, when we did this testing, this was in the second quarter. In June 2025, we conducted a roaming interop event. And as part of that event, what we found is that 4 years ago, when we introduced these test cases, they were still marked as optional test cases, meaning that we were collecting more data before calling these test cases mandatory for devices that are going through certification. So we identified these test cases as optional when we introduced these test cases. And the data that we got from our labs who were doing device certification testing was that more than 70% of the client devices were failing one or more of these tests. And these tests had devices moving from WPA2 personal to WPA3 personal transition mode. There were all types of combinations that we included and introduced in our testing. And the situation today is that more than 80% of the devices are able to pass these test cases. Yes, there are some failures. Still some failures because devices are still going through the refresh cycle implementation refresh as well. But the situation over the last 4 years has improved significantly. We are seeing more than 80% of these devices that we were testing, they have successfully passed the roaming test cases. And mostly these are WPA2 personal to WPA3 transition mode, back WPA3 personal only to WPA3 transition mode. There are some device security policies that play a part as well, which allow or disallow such roaming to occur. But certainly the situation is improving. We have also all these test cases that you see, these are now mandatory part of WPA3 certification. So we have, starting 2025 January, we have made the roaming testing mandatory for devices going through WPA3. All in all, I like to conclude by saying that Wi-Fi Alliance is looking forward to this collaboration and contributions expected from this WLPC community. We would like and request that we keep this dialogue, this channel open. Please provide us any issues that you are seeing in the field. Reach out to us over LinkedIn, send us emails, support emails. Tag Kevin, tag me on LinkedIn. Looking forward to this collaboration. Thank you so much.